Traveling has never been this simple in the Gambia. Oh yes, you don't need to visit the GTSC depot just to get a ticket. Just download the Yona wallet app today and enjoy hassle-free bookings. With Yona wallet, you can buy your GTSC bus ticket right from your phone, anytime, anywhere. From Kanifing to Dakar, Dakar to Banjul, or up-country routes like Kanifing to Basse and Basse to Banjul, Yona wallet has you covered. No queues, no stress. Just safe, fast, and convenient ticketing at your fingertips. Choose comfort. Choose convenience. Choose GTSC with Yona Wallet. Yona Wallet. Your money, your way. GTSC. Moving the nation forward. For more information, please call 1124 or 221-1668.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyenje.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom Yona Forest de Bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Hello and welcome to the Brunch on Kerfatu Live. I am Lamin Manneh. Today our focus will be on just three things. The resignations in the opposition United Democratic Party will form one topic. Police under the spotlight again. There's been a massive demonstration in Mandinari, which we understand in fact is still going on. The problem there that is The villagers accused the police of allegedly beating a youngster to death. The police said the guy lost consciousness when he fell down when he was being pursued by police after they've been caught smoking ganja. We will go into this analysis plus other things such as Gambia Participants Corruption Index has said many people in the Gambia believe that corruption is widespread. We will discuss all that. And of course, GALA, that is the anti-corruption protest group. GALA has also suffered its own side of resignations. We will discuss what more of this organization is remaining intact. We will have a GALA official here, the spokesman, that is Omar Saibo Camara, later on the program. But to start the program today, right now, Demba Jawo, of course, former information minister and commentator on Gambian affairs, is with me. Jawo, welcome back. Yeah. And Lamin Manneh, yes, UDP has no shortage of Lamin Manneh because the senior one, he is the administrative secretary, I think, responsible for diaspora, if I'm right.
External affairs.
External affairs, that's the senior one. But then there's a junior one. He is the Secretary General of the Students' Wing of the United Democratic Party. He is with me. Studio, Mr. Manneh, welcome.
Thank you so much for the invite, and good morning and good afternoon to the viewers of Kerefatu. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We will have your perspectives on current affairs first. But let's begin with what is happening in your corner, that is the United Democratic Party. Now, ever since your rowdy selection process for a flag bearer, I say rowdy because, of course, the whole country was gripped in the news of the process, and more importantly, the resignation from the executive committee of one of the former aspirants for the flag bearer, Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda of Kanifing. There have been a lot of acrimony, and now we've seen resignations by people from the executive committee, right down to regional, and I'm now even hearing constituency levels. People are resigning left, right, and center. Well, you refuse to acknowledge that this is a mass exodus, but at least it's some sort of an exodus. Just what do you think is going on? And how do you think these resignations are going to affect, if at all, the UDP? Is it not now time for the UDP to look inward and say, look, what is happening?
Well, thank you so much for the brief intro and also for the question. This is something that is very unfortunate. Every Gambian says it like that, and the United Democratic Party also confirms it like an unfortunate situation, because the people in question here, the mayor, that is Lord Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda, as well as other, top members, who were held strategic positions within the United Democratic Party, Tombon Sedi, Carver, and the deputy. All these people, of now are considered rank and files in the United Democratic Party. That is to say, they are within the ordinary members of the United Democratic Party. It doesn't tell well, because you look at Talib's position. Talib is a whole mayor on the UDP's ticket that is leading a whole region, KMC, a very broad region as far as politics is concerned. So Talib's staying on the fence, it speaks volume a lot as far as UDP is concerned and Gambian political terrain. So UDP sees this as an unfortunate situation, but we're still ferrying through to see, what the ends justifies the mean, what will happen, after all these things. But it is our strong conviction that the party will cease to continue, will cease to exist like, it has ever been, under situations like this. Things of this have been happening, most especially around electoral seasons, but UDP kept on surviving it. But to delve into the personal issues, let's say Talib Ahmed Bensouda, for instance, my personal view on this is that, and I've been given this advice always, that politicians must know when to speak. That is to say, you should be able to, keep your cards close to your chest. And one day in politics is a very long time, say a month or an year. So the intention of Talib, people perceive it, say, from 2021, 2022, and others have also identified themselves, with him. So coming down to 2025, there is already a public consensus that the mayor is going to contest the flag bearership, and some people were like, if he is not given the chance, what we see unfolding, is going to happen. So it doesn't. It is an unfortunate situation that has been, long awaited by many in the Gambia, especially those that are following the political trajectory. So it's not a surprise for me. It's not a surprise for me, but it's a surprise to a lot of people. But now we're talking about another person, another flag bearer candidate, Lamin Jawo, who resigns. Let's look at Jawo's, situation, as a peculiar one, because Lamin Jawo, from his own interview, his own words, says that he was offered a ministerial position in 2017 by President Adama Barrow.
2017.
Yes, but his position was that since the constitution, bars somebody to have dual citizenship and becomes a minister, and he doesn't see it as the necessary and the best decision to take at that material time. So his only position to denounce his dual citizenship would then be when he is given the portfolio, say maybe within the United Democratic Party as the flag bearer to contest the presidency.
He said that's the only time he will renounce it.
Yes, that is the only time that would be in question as to he should or not denounce his dual citizenship.
And not a proper minister.
Exactly. So as a politician, I think these are all political appointment positions. And in 2021, Jawo made an attempt for the flag bearership position.
Yes.
But according to him, he was not even called to an interview.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, but he still, stays in the party.
Yeah.
But if you look at his resignation, the wording, he's always saying that, transparency and fairness, transparency and fairness. But the 2025 process of this flag bearer selection, is perceived to be transparent, at least from what we can say whilst we are outside.
At least it's better than the last time
Exactly.
when he was not even called.
So because now the media is there, the process is well spelled out for the public to scrutinize United Democratic Party. But in 2021 that was not the case. So Lamin was in a better position to jump shift to resign in 2021 2022 than now, because then this thing of was not transparency speaks volume in 2021, because he was not even
he also said that he didn't believe the UDP can manage transparency internally. So therefore he doesn't see a party that cannot manage that internally should be given the national, can be able to do that when it comes to the national stage.
Yeah, but this thing of transparency is a thing of now. Let's say in a decade and a half, 15 years ago, nobody talks about UDP's internal transparency, because nobody wants to be part of the executives that are leading the decision or steering the administration of the...
It's not a crime.
It's not a crime. It's not a crime, but it should be a transition. Because UDP as a party was in a situation that nobody wants to contest, even in parliamentary elections, because you are identified and labeled by the Jammeh regime. So this family, brouhaha has that, surround itself around an individual who has an intention, usually will deter people from doing it. So let's see UDP from 2016 to 2025. Then we can talk about transparency, fairness, and whatnot. But even in 2026, Dabo was in jail with some executive members. And Barrow himself till date is saying that where are those people who are now, saying that, but because he sees that he was the most fearless person.
Do you want to say that all these people now, clamoring for attention, as you people call them in the UDP, they were all newcomers?
Not necessarily, but they might be in the party and be silent supporters of the party.
So why are they courageous now?
Because now the democracy that UDP have been fighting for over 2 decades
has been
achieved. So people can no longer talk about the mayoral or even the parliamentarian or the ward council, but even the party leader position.
Yes, you are surprised that people can now eye the UDP leadership itself. In the past, no one even want to contest the local area council.
Exactly.
But now they can be bold enough even to eye for the leadership.
So if that is the case, then there should be a transition so that UDP is better positioned to transit into fully in the fullness of time to bring new faces that will take those kind of positions.
But people, when you talk to this other argument that Mr. Dabo Of course, he has sacrificed a lot for
Yeah.
the country. People believe that perhaps it is time for him to retire, as party leader and bring in a younger and fresh blood. Of course, the Talib issue had been a controversy, but people still believe there are people in the party, such as the Yankuba Davos, the Rahim Malik Laws, or the Lamin Sanes, the Landing Sanes, all others who could have been brought to lead the party. But people are not understanding why, even to dare to say you want Davos position has become a crime.
Yes, let's give it a background context. In 1996, coming to 2011, like I've been saying earlier, nobody talks about that position. It's very risky for any Gambian to eye that position, not because you don't want to risk your life, but even your family.
So if Adama Barrow was right to say, then therefore, then where are they?
Yes. For reason is best known to him, and some will see it as the best because some people were not able to put themselves up for that tax. But now you talked about some certain individuals here. My position on this is that in 2016, when Ousainou Darboe was in prison and Adama Barrow, becomes the flag bearer of the United Democratic Party, Ousainou Darboe still remains the party leader of the United Democratic Party. So after he's released, there was a coalition government that Adama Barrow was leading. So he then joined the coalition government, hold 1-2 positions, and then at some point a fallout emerged. Then Ousainou is left with only one stance, to fall back to the opposition bench. Either Adama Barrow will maybe say, okay, I want to go back to the United Democratic Party. We see how we're going to select another flag bearer moving into 2021.
Was it not that there was a suspicion that Mr. Barrow wants to continue as flag bearer of the UDP to go beyond 5 years, and Darboe and his people in the party are not in approval of that? Well, that's not where the problem started.
That is neither here nor there, because still Darboe was the party leader of the United Democratic Party. So Barrow was the flag bearer. So United Democratic Party have a position to make moving into the presidential election 2021, because still we have two different or distinct important positions held by two different individuals. But now your question is, in 2016, Darboe was not there. Then 2021, Darboe fall back to the opposition bench. Yeah. He was the only candidate at that material time that could have, consolidate the base of the United Democratic Party, not to lose it to the incumbent who was Adama Barrow.
But again, he lost.
He lost. Yeah. But now you can see the reason why we are even speculating around this thing of, young people should come on board. Darboe, from my own view, has been relaxed for quite a while. After the 2021 presidential election. Yes. This is why names are mentioned like Talib, names are mentioned like Yankuba and whatnot. But moving to 2025, all these individuals, their ambition, take the better side of them. They start intensifying their grassroots campaigns, mobilizing. Once others will say, camp here, camp there. And Darboe and other militants of the United Democratic Party to just, at this, democracy, during this democracy, find your party, splitted by, individuals who are just of today, by their fierce nature, of today. Saying that, okay, Mr. Talib can, if you are not taking, you go this side. If Mr. Jawo is not taking, you go this side. Ousainou Darboe would be on the fence, seeing that happen. It's not going to happen. Ousainou have to make a decision. And the decision is, let me lead and call them on board.
But then there are other school of thoughts that he was late to have come back into the fray to try to control the things. When you yourself said when they lost the elections in 2021, everybody was down.
Yeah.
And even Darboe himself was silent, you said.
Yes.
Okay, then, talk started to say that perhaps it is time for Darboe to go in order to reinvigorate enthusiasm in the party for younger people to come in.
Yeah.
Then younger people showed up.
Yeah.
We had Rahim Malik Law, we had Yankuba, we had Talib Bensouda, all of them are perceived to be vying for leadership. Then they became rivals, different camps, and then suddenly Darboe rise to say, no, in fact, I'm going to run.
But
don't you think like you don't risk going back to the same thing that happened in the 2021?
But that is what every elder will do in your house. We all from a household. Today, at some point, if people see you as an old person, and then maybe the nature will take its course. There are family members that will start plotting. Okay, there is a land there, and if each and every member within that family will now put their eyes not on you but on the properties that you have, right?
So that's what happened.
So if Dabo had just given himself a backseat to say, let me see who is maybe the best candidate to lead the party, so now everyone is out. These people, a whole camp, people are going out to call each other in public. Yes. So do you think that if Dabo should have stayed put and said, okay, you people should apply, Yankuba will apply, Talib will apply, Rohi will apply, Landing will apply. Today we are talking about 4 to 5 factions.
Yes,
that will depart from the United Democratic. What are we going to be left with?
But they could have come together if he had stepped aside and said, okay, you people who are feuding for this position, can't you go now and discuss among yourselves? If you come with a candidate, we all support that. If actually he desired to step aside.
But I mean, that was said, at least from what I heard and what I also see the likes of my namesake Lamin saying.
You mean
these people have been called even when Yankuba made that
he was going to go out if Talib was in.
Yeah, they were called. I am told that they were called, to sit and discuss around
to discuss, but they were not called as aspirants of flag bearership minus that.
But these people have even from a public point of view, they've all come out to say that if Dabo is going to contest,
you come to the point.
We are not going to contest.
Yes, you come to the point.
So you see my point. If this is why I said their intention should be held to their chest. A day in politics is a very long time. Okay. You cannot all go out and tell the public that if Dabo should contest and Yankuba also may. So that means you all have a strong conviction that without Dabo you are not going to compromise. You are going all.
You are right there. That's a bit contradictory.
Definitely.
Given the passion that each of them have, and for them to come to say that, well, if Dabo contests, we will not contest. Yes. I mean, that shows that probably they are not really serious with their ambitions.
See my point.
Bensouda said that. Later he said, he regretted. He said, well, I actually had said I'm not going to go against the old man. So now that the old man, I had a meeting with him, he's insisted that he's going to be there, then I'm going to go back because my words have actually, my words have tied me down. But then he tendered his resignation from the executive there. Then that sparked a lot of other hours and assumptions that he probably is going on his own way. Now, the people who are resigning, are they not Talib loyalists who probably are not happy that the way he's treated, or perhaps are now willing to go with him to whatever way he was taking?
Well, definitely, these individuals have been identified, not even these past months, but a year or 2 or 3 ago, that these are close associates of Talib. And
why didn't you do what you did with Barrow's elements, remove them from the ward and regional councils or congresses?
Most of these people are elected individuals.
Yeah,
let's say Tom Bonseri is elected, and elected individuals cannot be removed by a party without due process.
Yeah, but there was
Karafa is also the same.
You had a national congress when you expelled the people like Lamin Manneh and others in the UDP. You remember they were expelled at that congress.
But some of these individuals, held this position, say 2021 to 2022.
Yeah, but when you suspected, when your party suspected that they probably has a different agenda, as you are now accusing this Talib loyalist, why didn't you at your Georgetown? The recent congress was in that Georgetown.
But now you are saying it's an accusation, and a party should run based on on evidence and facts. You cannot accuse a whole elected member and you sacked him because of an accusation. Okay. But also, let me put this straight. Talib has put himself in a very funny situation. You cannot come out to tell people that if Dabo contested the flag bearership, I'm going to stay put. Then you go and file in your documents for flag bearership. Then you again come and tell people that, okay, I've visited Dabo, then I know, he had already...
His camp said that he didn't know at the time.
But why did he not call? Why did he not call? Because when he want to withdraw, he knows there is a channel to use. He went to the house. Why did he not call? Talib is very close to Dabo.
And also Dabo had made it publicly clear that he's going to run.
Exactly.
Yes, that was
so it. Public accountability must take its full course on Talib.
Okay, now that Talib has resigned, but these others are resigning, the question remains, how do you think, if at all, this will affect the UDP? Well, your critics said I mean, you are losing credibility. You know, your conflicts are now irreparable, and that means you are losing executive members and grassroots support. Is it true that it's going to affect your party?
Of course, this will affect any party, and it has not started with us. Just a few months ago, we've seen this happen to the NPP, and then they have taken it seriously. So UDP also see this as a serious situation. But to say it's going to kill the United Democratic Party, that is an overstatement. Okay. It cannot do
Jawo,
that.
can I invite you in here? The young man is saying that it's only Jawo that definitely can keep the party together. That is one thing as the argument. But he didn't, categorically dismiss the fact that resignations definitely are regrettable incidents that the party could have done without.
Well, that's what true. What is going on in the UDP is an unfortunate situation as far as the party is concerned. I'm sure they have all acknowledged the fact that these resignations are not helping the party in any way. Particularly at this very crucial time when we are just approaching the presidential elections. And it's in the case of Mr. Jawo, if you remember, I once wrote something regarding him being a unifying factor.
Yes.
Because, we have all acknowledged that there are factions within the UDP. And, Jawo, I'm sure, if everything had been equal, he would have like to leave it to the younger generation, but the very fact that these factions exist, and everybody has come up to say that if he goes in, they are not going to go to contest the fair flag bearer position. So I think everybody saw that he was a unifying factor as far as the so I think you cannot blame him for coming on board, precisely probably to unify the party, because if he had left at that material time, then over to one of the faction leaders, because we all know those who have expressed interest were leading factions within the party as well. Probably to get on board the other factions, it would have been difficult. So the party would have been in a more serious struggle than it is right now. So it's not an easy situation to handle, but definitely I can understand that.
So you mean Mr. Jawo's ambition to go again is not born out of greed, as his critics would say, but a matter of necessity for the survival of his party?
Yeah, I would definitely tend to agree that his objective here was to serve as a unifier for the party, knowing that the existence of different factions within the party. If he decides to leave at this stage, probably the factions will tear each other apart. That's what I think that motivated him more to
but isn't that not itself a problem, that the party had failed to manage succession problems, or maybe have failed to even think and contemplate of possibly succession in the leadership?
Yeah, that is a problem between Gambian political circles. Virtually all the parties, it is the party leader that comes here. Every time you mention the party leader comes.
There was never a time that anybody think of, hey, look, perhaps it's not time for the party leader to change to other people. Jawara PPP tried, they didn't go.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation as far as the Gambian political terrain is concerned. The party leader is identified with the party, and if he or she, whatever the situation, if wants any particular thing to happen, nobody tends to challenge him or her into that situation. That is the case, it's always the case, particularly when it comes to leading the party elections. It is always the party leader that tends to go. Nobody maybe probably have the courage or the stamina to challenge the party leader to any particular position in the party. It's an unfortunate situation as far as Gambian political terrain is concerned. But that's the reality. And I have absolutely no doubt that if everything had been normal within the UDP, Mr. Jawo would not have hesitated to step aside for younger persons. But the situation is definitely not very normal there because of the existence of the different factions. So probably he saw him, most others within the party also saw him as a unifier. That is the reason why we are in this particular situation today.
Do you think these resignations, well, Talib loyalists, one can call them, do you think they will affect in any great measure the UDP? I mean, UDP people would have said, even a sitting president, Adam Barrow, walked away and we were not affected. So how can somebody who have not even maybe, got such a big clout can affect the party? But all the same, there are people who says that it will create credibility problem for the party.
Absolutely no doubt that the resignations are going to affect negative. There is no doubt about that.
Even the perception alone.
Yes, that alone. And also remember that most of those people who have gone so far are people associated with Talib. Even though Talib is still, as far as I know, within the UDP,
Yes.
the party. But most of those who are actually living associated with him. And we know that Talib has a very big constituency within the UDP as well as outside the party. So there is no doubt that his departure and does fall. Well, he hasn't gone as yet, but people who are loyal to him, people who are very close to him, leaving the party, will definitely affect the party. Because there is no doubt that even those who are not within the party, but who actually have been Talib supporters, and they were prepared to vote for the UDP because of Talib being a member of the party, probably would change the situation. And some of them may not vote for the party with whatever election that would be coming later. So, I mean, whatever the situation is, the resignations are definitely going to negatively affect the UDP. No doubt about that.
Okay, let's go back to Mr. Manneh here.
Okay.
People believe, well, the quarrel has been that there are certain people in your membership who believe that a change of leadership, flag bearer, is going to enhance your chances of unseating or winning the elections than maintaining the same leadership going to the same elections. In other words, I had people say, okay, there are others who said Jawo is not electable, but what is their evidence? So those kind of things you had. How do you react to such things when you hear people say, no, I mean, the generation now, an elder person cannot resonate with the youths, and you need generational change to resonate with the youths that will maximize the party's chance and not the old guard. What do you make of that argument?
But I mean, who will make the determination that, if a younger person is selected as the UDP flag bearer is going to win the 2026 election? It is still not within the hands of any person to conclude on that. This has to be contested at electoral polls, and then if that young person wins, then we can say, okay, we have a point of proof. But UDP as a party is at a very, very, very crucial, juncture, or at a crossroad, where you need to make sure that your existence within the political landscape and credibility is maintained as a political party, maybe within the opposition bench, but also you are going to fetch presidency. So in case you lost that, you are able to come back intact and continue from where you stop as an opposition on the opposition bench. But now let's say if a younger person is selected as the flag bearer without the intention to see the UDP through the 2021, it becomes a difficult situation, not for UDP alone as a party, but even for Gambia, because time and again UDP since 1996 has been a factor that is here to consolidate the democracy, advocate. People have lost their lives during advocacies for reforms from the United Democratic Party. So still, it has reached a point that regardless of your status in the community, if you start saying anything about the government, that is not today, that is even in Jammeh's era, they will say it's a UDP member. Even if you are an imam, if you start critiquing the government, you are a UDP member. So UDP must maintain that even if they are not in the presidency. But they must maintain.
But they must aspire to go into office. You cannot be remaining just with the main credible opposition. Your ultimate objective will be to office. And people are saying, perhaps it's time you strategize. After you have tried Jawo, well, that's what critics said, not me. After you have tried Jawo 4 times, at least, they said maybe if you strategize, bring in somebody, you probably may maximize your chance than before. That's what people of the other school of thought in the UDP said. Okay, unfortunately, Talib Bensouda's name was, occupied most of the people's mind. But then people said if the party had sat down to strategize succession, not necessarily Talib. If Talib's case is bringing controversy, maybe you can shift to another person. or put all the people together who are aspiring, go now and agree among yourself. But these people are saying that there is no enthusiasm or interest for the leadership to change. People had always said it was going to be Dabo and it's going to be Dabo. Agreed. As Mr. Jawo indicated, it is absolutely necessary that everybody realize that the unifying factor in the party is Mr. Dabo. So Mr. Dabo is trapped. In a way, he cannot leave without leaving the party asunder. And in the interest of that, he has to stay and guide the party. So that's the dilemma people who analyze UDP are. Can you educate us by telling us exactly what you think UDP's direction should be in this coming year or so, election year?
Yeah, I think it is a betrayal of the dedication and hard work that the party leader and the Secretary General of the United Democratic Party has ventured into. Yes, because you cannot bring any evidence, any proof to say, okay, Ousainou Darboe's leadership is bad to the extent that we rather continue with under these appalling situations that we are on or in. We talk about food, we talk about security, we talk about everything. That still Adama Barrow is likable than Ousainou Darboe, an individual for nearly 30 years that has been putting his life online to ensure that everything works as planned. And today we enjoy that. You cannot say Ousainou Darboe is not electable when you have never been voting for him. This is the process of the United Democratic Party. It's a political entity with a constitution. They will do their necessary stuffs and then they will come to the public for scrutiny and whatnot. But you cannot be an individual, say, never voted for Darboe, but you still want Darboe to change so that we bring new leadership. I believe this might be, from my understanding, political propaganda that might be traveling or finding its way into our political terrain because there is a new king that people want to take over from Ousainou Darboe. It might be a political propaganda because this thing of tribe and so since he's not this tribe and so these things have not been a problem within the United Democratic Party. But now why now? So politics is a very, very broad spectrum where propaganda finds its way always in. It might be a propaganda that Ousainou Darboe is not electable, but these same people have not been voted for UDP without reasons.
Maybe perhaps they think their problem is Darboe. If you bring Demba Jawo, they will probably become UDP.
But that because it has never happened. Even Barrow was on the coalition ticket, so we cannot still ascertain. But now, what is the problem with Darboe? If you said you don't like Darboe or is not electable, you should be able to put an evidence so that you convince me. As a member of the United Democratic Party, I still stand to be convinced.
The only evidence Darboe's critics, even in the party, said was because he was not able to win 4 times.
But if people, that is in the hands of the people. Electability is in the hands of the people, not Darboe. Not Darboe. So people will say we want Darboe.
But he's the one contesting all the time.
But if he is the one contesting all the time, the structures of the United Democratic Party see Darboe as the unifier and the most competent person as of now to lead the party into the 2026 election. You people have not been voted, but you are still bringing in indications that bring talent,
as long as the majority of the UDPs are satisfied that he's the candidate, nobody has any problem. Should have any problem with that.
That should be left to Gambians now. We have done our part at the party level. It should be left to Gambians. And you cannot just say, I don't want Jawo without any reason and you want Jawo to be changed or to be removed from this this terrain that we are or an environment that we are in. Jawo must commit a problem.
You mean people who are not even known to be UDP sympathizers are today saying that remove this man and bring this man?
And bring this man. It's a propaganda. It's a tactic. It's covert.
So you mean those are enemies?
Those are narratives that people are pushing. Tribal, Darboe is not electable, he's been losing 4 times. When Darboe was losing 4 times, who was even contesting in this country? People are not contesting. So why would he lose?
But at least they are not saying somebody else should come from outside. They are saying somebody from his own party should go there. So you see that point. They are not saying that somebody else should come from outside. They are saying even his own members, one of his members should go in there.
Yes, in the fullness of time that will happen. But you have asked a very important question to Jawo that I want to delve into.
Yes.
That is the succession plan.
Yes.
And I believe, even as a member of the United Democratic Party, constitutions need to be looked into. Usually what other political parties will do, the deputy of the flag bearer or the party leader is whom you groom. You nurture, you sell, you do everything so that he is in line with the party's structures and principles. In case if you are not there, the succession plan is already there, because people will exactly know that so is just the face after this person. But you cannot bring an individual who does not even have an interest to lead the party at any material time, and you have the person as your deputy. Then people within the structures will fight for your positions while this individual still stays there. So political parties should look into their constitution so that these things are arranged there. If they are not properly spelled out, where you have your deputy to deputize you and take over when you are not there, people within even the ranks and files, not the executive members, will eye that position, and it brings the problem that UDP is facing today. So I am saying that the UDP, it is time that the constitution is revisited so that the deputy is somebody that will be groomed and prepared for any succession plan that UDP should take into any election.
Jawo, did you buy into that idea?
Well, yeah, I agree with him that definitely there needs to be political reform as far as political parties in this country are concerned. I mean, whether it's going to be that particular aspect, getting the deputy, because I know some the reasons why, particularly in the case of the UDP, having that lady as the deputy probably is to kind of put an ethnic balance into it, because people have been, accusing the UDP of being Mandinka centered, on all those things. Probably if you have the party leader, this ethnic group, and then the deputy this, so it's kind of, just to deflect all those kind of criticisms and all that. But it's important. I think, putting up a succession plan is important, and the parties need to revisit that aspect of it and see, because as I said, all the parties are party leader centered, virtually all the parties in this country. It is a one-man kind of show. Leader is seen as the owner of the party, and everything and whatever happens to the party leader would definitely affect the party. We've seen what has happened to the APRC. It was a very big party, and suddenly after the departure of Jammeh, then it started to crumble and it became different factions. We've seen what has happened to PPP. It is virtually non-existent now. Because of that situation. Everything was centered around the party leader. I think the parties need to revisit that aspect of it. Yeah.
Mr. Manneh, we are sitting here playing the devil's advocate. We don't have a pro-Talib representative, so that's why we are putting to you what they think and what critics said of the whole process. So it is not our opinion, but the opinion of people within the party and outside who are expressing their school of thought. So that's why we are putting it to you.
Yeah.
Now let's change gear to other happenings. Recently, the police have been in the spotlight. Even now, Mandinari, the police have come out with a statement that a boy, failed and
it's a man, not a boy.
A boy, a man. Okay, well, a man fell when he was being pursued by police, allegedly because he was among a group who were smoking cannabis. The police said the man fell and lost consciousness, and then was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Nobody seemed to believe the police, though. The villagers said that is not what had happened. They believed that the boy was allegedly beaten to death. What do you make of the police statement, Mr. Jawo, straight away?
We haven't got all the facts surrounding the issue. We are hearing from both sides here. People made this allegation, the police came out, responding to that allegation. So, it could be anything. But as I said, this has definitely added to putting the police on the spotlight, because, recently we've had a lot of allegations against the police that they are involved in, kind of brutalities per se against people who have been out to either demonstrate or, involved in other civic matters and other things. So I think, I think the police need to look at themselves as well and see how best they can be able to address this kind of situation. Because, everybody is talking about security sector reform. And if the police seem to be sliding back to what they used to be accused of during the Jammeh era, definitely it's not good. It's not a good omen for the credibility of the police in this country. I think they need to be very, very, very careful of what they are, how they are handling situations. I think either they need a lot of training in handling, matters dealing with crowd handling or whatever. I think something definitely is not going well as far as that aspect is concerned. They definitely to look at themselves.
I mean, given this various factions, versions that come, I mean, the family and the youths who said they witnessed the things, they believe that the guy died in the hands of police. But in any way, he died under the custody, whether custody or at least in some way of handling in the hands of the police. In that case, what is expected of, according to law, I think, what do you think should be expected of the police? What's next, do you think, in this kind of situation? A post-mortem?
Well, of course, we expect a post-mortem. Probably the doctors would be able to determine what actually killed the person. It's possible, he must have collapsed and died either, as a result of an ailment that people didn't know. No, a lot of other things are possible. So I think a post-mortem needs to be done in this particular case. And also, there should be proper investigation on the side. The police have come out with a statement, I understand, and they have expressed their position as far as the issue is concerned. But probably that is not enough. There needs to be, one, a post-mortem to determine the cause of death, and second, also the police should also investigate as to what led to the situation that we are in today. All these things are very, very important as far as the credibility of the police is concerned.
Mr. Manneh, you followed developments in Mandinari yesterday and today?
Of course.
What do you make of the police statement that the guy was being pursued and he failed, lost consciousness, rushed to hospital and pronounced dead? But the villagers and the family are saying that they believe that the man was beaten to death by the police.
I think the information supplied to the public by the police communication unit was very insufficient and raised brows as far as the whole situation was concerned. You cannot just give not even a pressure or a communique, but a statement. A whole scene that involves the death of an innocent Gambian, you cannot just give a statement to explain that. And what was the key words there, in pursuit, in a hot pursuit, he fell. He fell and died. That doesn't say anything. Because I can fall and have a fractured leg, my hands, but to fall and die, that is mysterious. You cannot write that in your press and you want people to take you serious. So this is why the emerging scenes are taking advantage of the police press or statement, because people are now bringing up, not necessarily facts, because these have to be verified and confirmed, maybe through post-mortem and whatnot. But I mean, the statement was not welcoming, and then the police could have done better with the way they arrange their words to at least give the readers, the public, facts of what happens there, and then we can see, because these things have to be left in the hands of police. No citizen should take this as your sole responsibility to see justice, but the law must take its course, because even the police officers are not above the law. So if the police inform the public as to what happened, I believe the public will be in the better position to allow them to do the necessary work. But if that is not done, the public will be enticed to find the real things in the situation by themselves.
What do you make of, what does it tell you of the security sector reform? Because apparently, like Jawo said, police handling of situations like this have long been criticized. I mean, there have been alarm bells that, well, look, are we going back to the dictatorship era where the police or security has a free hand, to do whatever they have with suspects or people in their custody not being taken care of humanely, or incidents leading to this kind of embarrassments when you have detainees, dying in the hands of security. What do you think this should do in terms of security sector, consciousness about security sector reform?
Yeah, I think this is a build-up. It's a build-up, because if you look at the way police handle, situations, let's backdate it to the 3 years Jotna. The way people are brutalized there, some people nearly lost their jaws. And this was all done by the police. You see, certain police officers will come online on video to celebrate the efforts that they have done today. Even celebrating, oh, UDP, welcome, welcome, happy birthday to you, because of the brutalization that have meted against those individuals. You look at the gala protest, the way people are manhandled and thrown into the truck, the way people will be already in the custody of the police through, handcuffing them. Still, an officer will come and hit you in your face. Even yesterday, there were pictures or videos seeing a police officer, stamping the stomach of one of the guys that was already in their custody. So you stamp my stomach. Stomach is full of organs. Absolutely. You might, disturb or have a problem with my organs there. This might lead to anything. This might lead to me succumbing to any death, any death situation. So I think the way they handle, protests, the way they handle, civil matters, needs to be critically looked into, because there was already a situation that these things will happen because of the way police will be moving up and down with people that are showing their grievances, and this should be a turning point. That security sector reform has been a window blinded. Nobody is taking it seriously, and the state will be traveling in global international communities, talking about what they have done. Even the vice president's speech at the UN General Assembly, he mentioned that their security sector reform is doing well and whatnot. But within the country, we know that this is backsliding into dictatorship and police brutality, to weaponize the police against the citizens, and it is not the case. The police and citizens are the closest. They are friends. Today, if I have a problem with even my brother, I should be able to involve the police if I know we cannot solve this problem. So if people cannot, confide in police during criminal activities, then there is a problem, because people are no longer seeing police as friends. They're just seeing them as, confrontational, and then they will also become. Just look at the scenes that are coming from Mandinari. You can hear from the voice of the people that they are at the top of their voices and they are ready for anything. And the same thing happened to Jabang or whereabout, where people take advantage to, burn tires in the streets, and that same thing is happening at Mandinari. So government need to look into these things. The high, or the rise of people coming out in the streets, protesting week in, protesting month in, month out. It's just going to lead the government into a very funny situation where the bloods of people, the government will find its hands dirty with the bloods of protesters.
Yeah, well, let's move on to Gala itself, the protest. Well, we are expecting to get Omar Saibo, Camara, or spokesman of the group, but then since he's not in here, we continue with our topics. That is Gala. That is the Gambians Against Looted Assets. That famous protest group, that we are in action over the last years, over the last months, that led to we've seen the setting up of a parliamentary inquiry into the assets of the Jane Commission, rather the assets of the Jammeh as identified by the Jane Commission. We also seen their action on the action of PURA, that is a regulatory body for GSM companies, when it introduced a floor price. We've seen the street protest. Well, that really landed them in mile 2, and subsequent trial. I think that's still on. But then we saw also in the last few days, Gala itself been rocked by resignations. Accusations and counter accusations. Do you think this is a threat to the lofty ideas that Gala has prided itself with?
Yes, it is possible. Gala appears to have been a very effective, pressure group, civil society pressure group on situation that is unfolding in this country. But the very fact that now we have started getting some kind of problem amongst the members itself is definitely a threat to the cohesion of the organization and the effectiveness it had been, displaying in the past few months since it was created. It is an unfortunate situation, and let's hope probably they could be able to handle it better. Otherwise, it is definitely going to spell disaster for the group. And because if the people start, having this kind of problems among themselves, then the credibility of the group is definitely going to win. Absolutely no doubt about that. So they need to be very, very careful and see how best they can be able to address this situation before it reaches a point where nobody would have confidence in whatever they tell us or whatever they do. They have, as I said, they have been a very effective pressure group, And it's unfortunate that this kind of situation is beginning to derail whatever objectives they had in mind.
Well, the theories that have been floated around was that they are accusing each other of tampering with monies that were donated to them and or sister pressure groups in the wake of those demonstrations. But some said maybe there is a bigger underhand, allegedly political elements who are trying to divide them, perhaps.
Of course.
Or others said, in fact, some members of GALA have already have political ambitions or affiliated with political groupings.
Well, it's all possible because you're dealing with very powerful interest groups, and if they have the means of to infiltrate the group and divide it, they would definitely do that. And these are all possibilities. Definitely. And we all know when especially when money is involved, and you're dealing with people who are not quite well off financially, it could definitely be used by certain powerful elements within the society to cause havoc within the group itself. It's a possibility, and everybody should definitely be very wary of such a situation. Yeah.
Certainly, if they can't agree on how their money is spent, or as they are doing allegations of corruption within the organization, that will certainly make them lose the moral authority for their campaign.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. They need to be very, very careful about that kind of situation. As I said, they are dealing, sometimes their adversaries are very powerful individuals here because, the interests of those individuals have been threatened by what GALA has been doing. And if they are not careful, those individuals can step in and cause havoc within the unity of the group. So they need to be very, very vigilant about that.
Mr. Manneh.
Yes.
They have accused politicians maybe of having influence on GALA, something like that. And naturally, all eyes will turn to opposition politicians and opposition parties. How do you see the resignations? You refuse to admit that yours is an exodus. They too had several. So I would not naturally call them mass exodus of people there. But how do you see resignations and the theories that's been bandied around that they probably had disagreement over how money should be spent or have been used, and others said maybe there are bigger hands on the hands of trying to split them so that they can be less effective and cause maybe minimum political damage to the powers that be, or perhaps already people suspected some of them are in fact partisan. They are aligned to one political view or the other.
I think it is not the resignation that GALA is faced with. It's only one individual that resigned from GALA. That is Mohammed Sise. The other ones were relief of duties.
They leave of?
Relief of duty by the executive members. They've been dismissed.
Oh, interesting.
So Usenu Gambia, Tida Job, and Ibrahim
You seem to know these people very well.
These are my boys. These are my comrades.
That's why people suspected perhaps you politicians have influence.
I have already given these people an open letter immediately after the GALA is even named Governments Against Looted Assets. Immediately after the looted asset protest, they went out about 50 or so of them, and then some of them were grabbed by the police and taken to prison. So a protest was mounted on a Saturday
for them to be released,
and then for them to be released. So was it a triangle or what they call it at Westfield? The monument was then captured from the state. From the state to be able to utilize it and disperse the protesters. They sat there until these boys are relieved. That was the call of the protesters. So when they came out, my position was, do not institute this as a movement. Do not institutionalize it, because you run the risk of state infiltration among the members. That is number one. But number two, all of you, if not all of you, have political ambition. Some of you have, contested and lost. Some of you maybe have went to primaries and not taken. Some of you maybe, but hey, you talk about Shilfo Bayosongo is a known member of the United Democratic Party. Kemesin Jammeh is a known member of PDOIS. You talk about Mamadi Kurang. At some point endorsed PDOIS.
Yes.
Kemesin Sane, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's Cakes.
Cakes. And others also. that I don't want to name. So these are the top of the
So already some of them are politically affiliated.
Very well. So the government or the state will have already a perception about you.
Yes.
That since you people have some of you have contested and lost against our people, so that grievances might be there. So do not put yourself in such a situation. Let loose of this movement. If a new thing happens in the country, it becomes the responsibility of every civic Gambian to say there's a problem. Let's wake up and just go and do the necessary thing. That is to be on the streets. But if you guys now institutionalize this, that means you are taking say monopoly of oversight function as a movement that is not instituted by an act of parliament. So now you'll perform oversight in institutions that you are not mandated to do. Whatever happens in the country now, you can see. The call is, where is GALA?
Yes.
Whatever happens
Definitely.
in the diaspora, you call, where is GALA?
Yes.
Because that is the position you people have subjected yourself. Where now you must act when they say, where is GALA? If not, you are going to be labeled as those that have already given in to the infiltration of the state that you are bought.
You are bought.
Because now, then you were shouting, but now you are quiet. If we say, where is GALA, then Omar Saibo is not, on top of his boy like before. That is to say, these things are very tiring. Leading movements that the government is always, scrutinizing you is very tiring. And some of these people are young people from households.
Indeed.
At some point, parental advice will come. Uncles will advise you. And when they take the better side of you, you start to lay low. And when you start to lay low, people will say, now he's bored, he's no longer, having that energy.
So what do you advise them to do then, if they don't institutionalize themselves? You want them to go and reorganize?
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Myself here led a protest. That National Assembly member salaries and pension bill and the judicial officers remuneration and other. I wrote the petition. I read the petition. I was leading it.
Indeed.
But immediately we dispersed from the parliament. We were called by the office of the speaker through the clerk, so that we can have the close those discussion with them. That document reached us, and then we publicize it, so that the whole public will know that we are going into discussion with the members of parliament. And when we went there, though the speaker did not come, but the deputy speaker was there. Jawo was there, minority leader, the majority leader, and every political party representatives were there. The state sent in intelligent officers. The lawyers were presented there. Immediately we left there, we make a contact with the media to inform them as to why we are there, and that we do not have a consensus with the members from the National Assembly. So we are still with our position. Immediately from there, people start calling me at night that we have already raised funds. Some even call and inform me that there is already $1,000 and then we are facilitating it so that you guys can receive it. I say, what? We don't need money. When we were doing this, it was only our energy. We are young people that even don't know each other's names and second names. We were doing this because we think it is wrong. At zero cost. If you look at the places that we were even having our press conferences, these were on finished buildings. That is where we'll have our press conference. And that movement yielded dividend because the judicial officers' remuneration and other entitlement was removed from the parliament.
Yeah.
Even though another name is created for it, but that bill is removed.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the National Assembly member salaries. It's nowhere to be found. So that means that protest entirely makes success and headways. But we said, people reach out, let's make this a movement. Even when we are in the National Assembly, some of these legal-minded reach out to me. You people have to make this an institution. I said, institution to do what? I'm a young person with ambitions. I cannot institutionalize something that will haunt me for the rest of my life. You see my point?
Yeah.
So then I know that money thing comes. I said, we don't need any money. And I told my executive members that, no, there's somebody that is calling me. I shared the number that if this number should call you, distance yourself from this individual. Because if you should take anything from him or her, we are not going to associate ourselves with you. We are going to go in public to say we have distanced ourselves from you.
So you mean GALA was mistaken to receive money?
I was surprised when I saw $400,000. Who is sponsoring you? Becomes the question. Because he who sponsors you will give you directions.
Absolutely.
This is why whatever happens in the country, people will say, where is GALA? Where is GALA? Where? I think they need to lay low. Because it was Gambians against looted assets. Gambia have a whole mountain of problem to climb. People cannot be calling you from diaspora or from their comfort zone to say there's a mountain, go and climb it. At some point you will get tired, and if you fall, there is nobody to pick you up.
Absolutely.
So that's the situation that GALA itself has found it, because these people that are dismissed, some were dismissed on the ground that they are no longer participating as expected,
allegedly,
that their energy is now wilted, and then
allegedly,
some were also said that because of what happened to KMSN's contract was terminated at some point.
Yeah.
So that might happen to other colleagues in the executive. But I find it very bizarre that you terminate my contract or my position within the executive without consulting me. But you, Lamin, will say, okay, I want to relieve Lamin from his duties in the executive because I believe there's a potential threat to his career. He's a young person, young, brilliant, from a humble background. Right. But are you in that position to do that without calling me? I come into the executive out of my own will and determination to be part of. So I think some of the dismissions were not genuine.
They ostracize people who they suspect might have some without due process.
No, they said because these people might, there is a potential that they might be targeted and then their futures might be at risk. But they are not in the position to say that.
I see.
Jawo today should be able to say, okay, it was through my will and conviction that I joined the movement. I want to withdraw. That is resignation. But you, Lamin, cannot say, okay, Jawo's future, is at a potential risk, so we should remove Jawo from the executive without his consent. I don't see any genuineness or transparency in that.
That's GALA. Well, I must remind the viewers that we have invited
perception index. What people perceive, that is what this is what exists in this country. Of course, it's a very strong perception as far as this country is concerned, that corruption is very rampant in this country compared to what happened in the past under Yaya Jammeh. It's quite comparable. In fact, some people are even saying that the corruption is more visible today than it was during the Yaya Jammeh era. Because during the Yaya Jammeh era, we all knew that Yaya was, he had his hand in virtually the whole deal. There was virtually no difference between the state
and Yaya's
Yaya Jammeh's own groups like Kanilai Family Farm and other things. So, it was very evident. But in what is happening today, I think it's so widespread. The perception is definitely so widespread. There is corruption all over the place. And hardly, not much is being done, about it. We've had this anti-corruption commission. Well, the bill was debated in Parliament. It was passed, and I understand it was watered down. And then passed,
watered down.
And the president assented to it. It became law. But how many years now? Up to now, we cannot get the commission in place. So it is an indication that the political will to fight corruption is definitely not quite evident. It is definitely not quite evident. And we've also seen recently what has happened to the Auditor General.
Yes,
because everybody has been talking about that the National Audit Office has been doing a good job. Bringing out a lot of reports of corruption within the government, and hardly much was done about those reports. Now, we've seen what has happened to the Auditor General, and that's Motsise. What is the situation? It is not telling well as far as the government's will to fight corruption. The political will to fight corruption is not quite evident as far as these issues are concerned.
And the index,
the index
quite clearly indicated that not many people.
I'm not sure where this Gambia situation, as far as the international corruption perception index is concerned. That is the Transparency International one. But definitely locally, this perception seems to be very, very credible. Yeah.
And it's linked to the Auditor General's removal. How did you see that whole saga? No, I have been offered, but I have rejected. No, he did not reject in the first place. He only rejected after he changed his mind. And now you must go. no, I'm not going, and then the police are involved to remove him. How do you feel about that?
I think, okay, I mean, according to the law, removing the Auditor General has a process. Unfortunately, this process was not followed in this particular case. I mean, this is the second time we've seen this kind of a situation, you know, in such institutions within the government. You remember in 2020, I think 2020 or thereabout, the governor of the Central Bank,
yes.
Bakari Jame, was also offered the position of the Minister of Trade. I mean, while he was governor of the Central Bank, and I understand he rejected the offer, but eventually he was removed, and you know, said he was taken as his replacement. And I don't know what happened to that case. But here again, the same scenario has arisen in the case of the Auditor General. I mean, before the president appoints somebody and then goes on air to announce the appointment, I think you wait until the person consents to the appointment.
How were you appointed? Were you just appointed, or you were contacted?
Of course, I was contacted. I even met with the president and other things, and he offered, and I accepted. You know, and then they wrote to me. It was after I was written to, and I accepted that. I mean, it was announced.
But you had been previously consulted.
Of course, yes. I mean, that is exactly what it should be. In fact, what they would expect. I mean, expect from you when you are. I mean, they will ask you to give them a CV. Your CV, and then, you know, I mean, they would contact you and offer you the position. But in this particular case, I'm not sure it happened in the case of, you know, probably the president just sat down and then, you know, decided.
But do you think the president would have announced, or his team would have announced when?
But even okay, let's assume that the man came and then, you know, I mean,
accepted initially.
But that was just a verbal. It has nothing to do with the law. Nothing to do with the law. Wait until the person, I mean, because the requirement is that the person should write
in person
to accept or reject. And you know, I mean,
so you mean they should have got the letter of
exactly
before the announcement?
Acceptance first before they would insist
announcement
before they announce the situation. Because the thing is, I mean, getting somebody to say that I'll accept or I'll consider it, that was not enough. I think these are lessons that the president should learn. Next time round, before announcing somebody's appointment, make sure that the person has
accepted
legally accepted it. That is by writing a letter to you to indicate that I have accepted it. But in this particular case, I think the situation is definitely quite murky. So we can, well, let's, I understand there is a process to take the matter before the Supreme Court, which is supposed to interpret the laws. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the whole process was definitely didn't follow due process as far as the law is concerned.
Mr. Manneh, what do you make of the perception that Gambia corruption is widespread and the Auditor General's removal?
Well, I think that makes the fact that what the president said, that corruption is as old as mankind. You see, if the CEO could say that, who is the staffs or the employees not to believe that? So if the president... I didn't
ask you what the president said. I said, what do you make of it?
That is where I'm coming. That is where I am coming. If the president as the political head, you know, Mr. Jawo mentioned about the political will. If the president as the political head is saying that corruption is as old as mankind, then that qualifies that there is no will. There is zero will to fight corruption. You see my point? So people, the listeners, the public, already see the president saying that, then they are not going to trust any process any longer. So that means corruption is normalized. President saying that qualifies that corruption is normalized in this country. And that is what we have been seeing happening in institutions. All these protests are corruption protests. From that GALA force protest to these scandals that are happening now and thereabout, the Republic's update now and thereabout, these are all, you know, matters of corruption. What is the president doing about it? The anti-corruption bill is passed. Why are we not taking the advantage of that bill? So that is where the question is. People at the grassroots should see leadership doing something and then they have trust in. If the leadership is sleeping, people at the grassroots will just know that the show is closed, nothing is happening. This is why nobody trusts that corruption is going to be a thing of the past as far as this regime is concerned. So that is my perception on the index from the Gambia participant. People are very correct. If the president have no will and he already confirmed that it's as old as mankind, then we are mankind. We also live in our time, and then tomorrow maybe our grandson will come and say it's also as old as mankind, whilst we don't do anything about it.
How about the Auditor General's removal?
Well, the burden of proof lies on the accuser. If the Auditor General is accused to consent to his appointment, and the Auditor General somewhere says that he has never consented to it, either in writing or in words, then the government becomes the accuser. Then the burden of proof is within the government's rank to do. So let them give the government the proof. If there is any document that the Auditor General signed, or it was in a written document that he consented, let the Gambian see it. If it was in an audio form, consented, let the Gambian see it. Because also within the constitution, the auditor's appointment can be revoked when misbehavior is seen from the auditor's end. So if the auditor should write something down that he consented, or there's an audio that implicated the auditor that is consented, then that becomes misbehavior, because auditor need to be a principal person.
But there is a process.
There's a process before you can remove it.
Yes, but with that there is also a prima facie to that process.
And do you know that there has never been any appointment, any termination letter for him?
That's
never been.
That's unfortunate.
Well,
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But I mean, the state should be able to provide maybe in audio or a written document where the auditor consented. But if not, we will see it as abuse of office and abuse of the constitution of the Gambia.
Lamin Manneh, Secretary General of the United Democratic Party Students Wing, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and replying to those questions raised about your party and general matters. Demba Jawo, former information minister, journalist, and Gambian affairs commentator, thank you very much for being here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the GALA spokesman, Omar Saibo Camara, despite him promising that he will come to shed light more on the GALA debacle. We appreciate the thoughts from my eminent panelist here on GALA. We will pursue these debates in the next edition, perhaps, or subsequent ones when we come back for more brunch starting next Saturday. Bye-bye for now from Lamin Manneh.
Traveling has never been this simple in the Gambia. Oh yes, you don't need to visit the GTSC depot just to get a ticket. Just download the Yona wallet app today and enjoy hassle-free bookings. With Yona wallet, you can buy your GTSC bus ticket right from your phone, anytime, anywhere. From Kanifing to Dakar, Dakar to Banjul, or up-country routes like Kanifing to Basse and Basse to Banjul, Yona wallet has you covered. No queues, no stress. Just safe, fast, and convenient ticketing at your fingertips. Choose comfort. Choose convenience. Choose GTSC with Yona Wallet. Yona Wallet. Your money, your way. GTSC. Moving the nation forward. For more information, please call 1124 or 221-1668.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it.
Mbijan raganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay.
What's
Nsila ID soto.
That's sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom Yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jam. Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kono kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodito